This RX7500 XT is a great graphics card, but it already starts to get outdated because of one thing: ray tracing. Some new games like Doom: The Dark Ages actually require a card that can handle that, rendering this card useless for modern gaming, right? Well, that just might be a solution, if you're willing to move over to the dark side of Linux gaming. I recently bought this card for 125 euros, which I believe is about 130–140 US dollars. Looking online, that doesn't seem like an insane deal, so you just might be able to find a similar one for about the same price. For me, this is a huge upgrade, coming from the NVIDIA GTX 1050 Ti and even the AMD R9290 from this video. Anyway, who cares, right? You wanna know about ray tracing. But yeah, gotta put it in my PC first. I actually upgraded my power supply for this card from a 450 watt to a 650 watt variant. I did test it on a 450 watt power supply and it ran fine, but I felt I could use a little more headroom. The RX7500 XT is rated for a maximum power draw of 225 watts. My i5-8500 CPU has a TDP of 65 watts, which we can't assume to be the exact maximum, but it's probably close. That makes for a theoretical max power draw of 290 watts, leaving 160 watts for the rest of the system. Should be plenty, but it's always good to leave a bit more headroom. By the way, I've been brushing up my mathematics through Brilliant, who are sponsoring today's video. Being a dad, it's only a matter of time until I'd have to start helping the kids with their homework assignments. But it's been quite a while since I've been in school. Brilliant provides a neat way to get into the mindset needed to quickly understand their assignments. It helps you find your skill level and go from there to upgrade your problem-solving skills, which sure comes in handy when tinkering with computers as well, as you just saw. I wanted to do just a few minutes of solving equations a day, but Brilliant makes it so much fun that I just keep going.
Just one more.
Gaining XP on each correct answer I give. Getting higher up the ranks and leveling up. Kinda feels like gaming, right? Maybe they'll even teach you the mathematics behind ray tracing at some point. I don't know. Head over to brilliant.org/xitguy to start your 30-day trial to get good fast. You'll get a lifetime 20% discount on Brilliant Premium using that exact link, which is also in the description of this video. So how does ray tracing do on a card that doesn't actually support it at a hardware level? And how to get it working at all? I'm on Arch Linux, but it should work on any distro of your choice. Just make sure you're using the RedV Vulkan backend, which on Arch is installed with a Vulkan Radeon package, and lib32 Vulkan Radeon for 32-bit games. On Steam games, I have to set a variable redv_perfTest is emulate RT, which you can set on a per game basis by editing the properties of the game like this, or system-wide inside of etc environment, for example. The current version of redv seems to enable this by default, and outside of Steam it just seemed to work, but on Steam games I have to set this variable. Not sure why. Let's test some games. Doom Eternal, with the overall quality set to Ultra, runs at a very respectable 130ish FPS without ray tracing at 1440p. If I enable ray tracing, that number drops by quite a bit, but you know, 80–90 FPS is still fine by me. I just don't see the difference, so I guess it's better to turn it off. Half-Life 2 RTX runs like poop at 4040p. But when I set it to 720p, it becomes playable. But I can't say I like the way it looks. Shadow of the Tomb Raider has a nice built-in benchmark that I used here. At 4040p, with shadow quality set to Ultra without ray tracing, it measured an average of 85 FPS. Enabling ray trace shadows at higher Ultra is a no-go, but at medium it still performs reasonably well with an end result of 64 FPS average. Not bad at all for a card that doesn't actually support it, right? In Quake 2 RTX, the frame rate at 1440p is pretty bad. But with dynamic resolution scaling enabled with a minimum scale of 50%, we see a very playable frame rate around 40 FPS. I'm not too sure about Pumpkin Jack, where I see a very reasonable 80ish FPS with ray tracing disabled at 4040p. And a frame rate that is hardly any lower with ray tracing enabled. But do you see the difference? Because I don't. Industria seems more demanding than I would expect with those graphics, giving me frame rates somewhere between 25 and 70 FPS at 4040p Ultra settings, ray tracing disabled. If I enable all RTX options though, those frame rates don't seem to change at all. And again, do you see the difference?
This doesn't look good at all.
And now for the grand finale. Can I play Doom the Dark Ages with an unsupported graphics card? Well, by default, no. Ray tracing incompatible GPU. But if we add the variable mentioned before, it runs. At 4040p low settings, I get a reasonable 50ish FPS. But that number drops hard when there's a lot of enemies around me. So let's drop to 1080p. A pretty playable 40-45 FPS again. Not bad at all for a card that you can get this cheap. It also shows that the Dark Ages is a lot more demanding than its predecessors, and not only because of ray tracing. Still pretty cool to play it on a card that's not supposed to be able to run it. That's all I have for you today. I hope you liked this video. If you'd like to check out Brilliant, you can use the QR code shown on screen now. Or click the link in the description to get 20% off your subscription for the rest of your life. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time.